Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Ready? All right. Good morning, everybody. I call to order the DuPage County Human Services regular meeting for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, time is 9:01. Can I get a roll call, please?
Okay, Chair Swarzy,
Not yet.
I'm here on Zoom.
Member Childress,
Yes.
Vice Chair Garcia.
Here.
Member Desart.
Here.
Member Galassi.
Here.
Member LaPlante.
Here. Okay. So a physical quorum of the members is physically present. I entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to
So moved.
personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or for the purposes of the board, family, or other emergency to participate by video or teleconference. So I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Chair Schwarzy.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move along. We're gonna forego your chair remarks, I believe, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, can I get an approval of the minutes of 24-1572 Human Services Committee regular meeting Tuesday, May 7, 2024? Can I get a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, moving, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the community services, FIR 008924, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Human Services, IDHS, supportive housing grant, program year 24 intergovernmental agreement number CH 00352, company 5,000 from 154,180 to 167,996, an increase of $13,816.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I make a motion for the approval of travel of 24-1573 Community Services Administrator to attend the National Association of County, Community, and Economic Development Summer Meeting in Tampa, Florida. Good luck with that. From the July 10th, 2024 through July 13th, 2024. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for approximate total of $2,717.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I motion to receive and place on file 8A, 8B. Oh, I guess I have to put that. First of all, can I make a motion to combine 8A, 8B, 8C, 8D, and 8E, all informational.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
One is 8A is 24-1574 GPN 01924 Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program Grant. Program year 25 Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, $3,487,312. 8B 24-1575 GPM 02024 Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, State Supplemental Grant. Program year 25, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, $3,681,051. 8C 24-1576 GPM 02124 Weatherization DOE Grant. Program year 25, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, U.S. Department of Energy, $734,681. 8D 24-1577 GPN 02224 Weatherization HHS Grant, Program year 25, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, $967,886. And 24-1578 GPN 02324 Weatherization State Grant Program year 25, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, $426,227. I make the motion. Any second?
Second.
Any discussion on any of these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Moving on to residency waivers. Do we have any today?
No residency waivers.
None today. Okay, DuPage Care Center update, Janelle Chadwick. Hi, Janelle.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I have some not so fun news to share. We've had another COVID outbreak here at the Care Center. We believe it's the newest variant. I think it's called FLIRT, or the acronym for FLIRT. Not sure why, but we've had 10 residents and 7 staff. Did just hold a vaccination clinic. I think it was April, and we had at least 122 residents that were able to get the vaccine. Some were not able due to the age requirement. None of the residents have significant symptoms, and they're moving off the unit slowly as they resolve. So that's our update on that. Any on COVID before I move to more happy news? Yep.
Member Galassi.
Thank you. I'm curious, what is the protocol now? I mean, I know it's always a moving protocol, like how long are residents on?
So when a resident tests positive, them and they move down to the COVID unit. Any contact tracing, we still have to do contact tracing, such as their roommate would be a person under investigation, or any contacts that resident may have had. We have to do a test on day 1, day 3, day 5. So if those come back negative, then they're no longer considered a PUI. The resident is down there. I'll have to remember that. I think it's 14 days that they are on the COVID unit.
It is still 14. But you are seeing that these symptoms are mild so far?
Yes. We have one resident that had significant COVID, and right before he got it, he was telling me his brother was positive, and he's like, and he got it, but this time he's doing well, so we're very happy for him.
Thank you.
Member LaPlante.
Thank you. Are you still testing as a matter of course? Or are you only testing symptomatically?
We would test symptomatically and exposure.
Okay, so the 10 residents exhibited symptoms, and that's how you tested them and found out they were positive?
Or they were part of contact tracing without. So one person was at a computer in Donka, and anyone that was around him we tested. So they may not have been symptomatic, but we test them on day 1, day 3, day 5, because the CDC's have start to show positive results in those 5 days.
And are you still masked there? I know the last time I was there, it's still
Yeah.
mask protocol.
Quite a while, and now we are again.
Okay.
Yep.
I hope
When
this.
it broke out, there was no masking.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
a risk.
thank you.
Okay, so you're back to masking now, full time.
We are.
Okay. Well, stay safe. See,
Yep.
everybody gets healthy.
Right. I have some positive news. So
Okay.
Fort North, our completed unit, underwent the life safety code survey. He came, the inspection was cleared. And so that was done. That's great news. Then last week, nursing came, the nursing clinical side came, and they too cleared us. We just have to wait for the letter from IDPH that confirms that visit. We are quickly pulling together a planning and how we're going to do this strategically, and we're moving the beds for residents' beds, and so there's a lot of different strategies that we're reviewing to get the move done. The goal is to plan, get everything in order in 1 week and move all the residents in 1 week, which is a huge goal, but the team is very strong and this is not new, so we can do this.
I know that I personally haven't had a chance to get over there and see the rooms, but I know due to COVID, I'm probably not gonna run right over there and see them right now. Can you let us know what a good time would be to come over there and take a view of the rooms before?
Right now, it's on isolation. Do not include 3 north, or I think it's 2 north and 2 east right now that are on quarantine.
Okay, so people could come over and take a view of the rooms.
There's elevators go to that floor anyway, the construction elevator. So if we
Set
could,
up something with your office, or?
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay, Janelle. Okay, so if anybody wants to know, wants to get over there. Okay. Okay, anything else, Janelle?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Okay, community services update, Mary Keating.
Good morning. I'm gonna give just kind of an overview on where we are with the latest round of applications for the infrastructure. Just to remind, food pantry infrastructure, just a reminder. There is 1.145 million in ARPA interest that has been allocated to food assistance. And so the board decided to set aside 500,000 of that for a second round of applications for food pantry infrastructure. The yellow and blue sheet that you have in front of you reflects all of the applications that we received for those funds. You'll see the total request was $1.2 million. So many thanks to the finance ARPA team for putting together all of the numbers, looking at all of the applications. I thought maybe the easiest way to sort of do a first run separation was to call out the applications that didn't receive anything or didn't apply typically in the first round of applications. So you'll see that that's the blue section on the top there. That comes out to 557,000. I will say that number isn't a hard and fast number. You'll see that there's a number of them that say there's issues with backup. Typically, what finance has told me is that in at least several cases, the applicant sort of rounded up from what their backup documentation. So if their documentation said that they were going to buy a freezer and it was, $2,700, they asked for 3,000. And so what we would what finance would be doing if these are approved to move forward is going back to the applicants and just nailing down the exact dollar amount, because these grants are given in the past, at least, they've been given as an advance. And so what we don't want to do is trying to claw back, a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. So that 557 is a little bit fluid, but I think it's a pretty solid number. The yellow section are the applicants who are coming in for a second time. You'll see some are listed as partially ineligible. Typically, the ineligible activities are things related to the building. So we had specifically called out building improvements as not eligible under this program. It was more for equipment and that. So I think.
Yeah,
I think Dr. Torsi wanted to-
Chair
yeah.
Swarzy is going to take over from here in terms of this. I hand it over to you. And you're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Please let me know if I cut out a little bit. When Janelle was talking, she was cutting out a little bit on my end, but thank you, Mary, for your report on that. And look, we got roughly a little under $1.2 million in our food budget. We earmarked 500,000 of this for the second round. As I was looking at these numbers, I sort of came up with the options that we really have here. One option is to only fund those agencies that were not previously funded in round one, which is roughly $557,000. The second option is to increase that $500,000 to really whatever we have left, $1.15 million, and use that money to fund, everything that we can. The third option would be to rank or prioritize all these entities, whether they got funding previously or not. Now, when I was talking with Mary yesterday, there's a potentially fourth option, and that involves potentially giving the agencies previously not funded their grants and revisit those who have previously received grants after full conciliation of ARPA funds. And I don't know if Mary Catherine or Nick or anybody out there can talk about the conciliation of ARPA funds.
Yeah, so we are entering the final stages of the ARPA deadline. As everybody knows, all of the ARPA funds need to be allocated by the end of this year and spent by the end of 26. The team has done wonderful in getting that. And now we're entering the phase of all of the previous contracts we had. They're revisiting with them. We're going to be clawing back some money here. How much will be available? I don't know. Right now, 100% of ARPA and ARPA interest has been allocated. Over the next 3 months, we will be looking, because whatever isn't going to be spent out of those contracts, we have to bring back, and the board will then have to decide how to spend it. I will say there will be other pressures that you as a board will bring it to finance or board, probably July, August, the latest. And we will say, okay, you guys have, I mean, and we're not talking millions, we're probably talking hundreds of thousands that will be available. And then you as a board will say, okay, how do you want to spend that reacquired ARPA money that was originally distributed, but now we've clawed back? How do you want to do it? This is one of the many options. I can guarantee you, you're going to have many other options in front of you. Will there be enough to handle what's in the yellow? I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. I would doubt you'll have that much, but we'll see. But you will have other pressures as well. And then at some point, we'll say, this is how much money you have left. Here's all of the requests we've seen, and then any other ones you guys might have out there, any other thoughts, and then you'll have to make that decision.
Thank you, Nick. And I'm sure some committee members may have some questions, but, you know, saving that 600,000, I think it's vital. Our current 1.5 million to the food program from the Northern Illinois Food Bank gets us through June of 2025. So we have no more ARPA money for 2025. And sort of hanging on to the 600,000 is sort of a nice, or I think needed, nice isn't really the right word, but a needed safety net. Because again, I mean, I talked with Member Garcia yesterday, and the lines are out the door still, right, Paula, with the food banks?
Yeah, I was there in the
Pantry?
food pantry last week and the line was around the building. So yeah, no, the lines are very long still.
You know, with that being said, I am going to submit to our chair a general operations budget line item of money for food. Whether it gets approved or not, that's another thing. But we won't know till the end of the year. But my suggestion would be to fund those agencies that have not been funded yet. After finance finalizes all the exact numbers, hang on to the $600,000. Let's find out what's going on with the ARPA funds that may not have been spent. And I think Nick said a couple, 2 or 3 months, we may have those numbers, and we can revisit those agencies that are asking for a second funding. And I think if we're patient here, hopefully we can, you know, do good things with this money and do the right things with this money. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Chair Schwarzy. Member Star, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question. I had a comment. I agree with the chairman that, that we allocated $500,000 for this effort, the second tranche, and we've got that in people, in organizations that have not received any. So what I would favor is to give that, that blue group who has not received anything, what they're asking for, and try to bring it down to the $500,000, allotment that we've already agreed to, and then save the rest of the money for food. So I am not in favor of giving the yellow group, which are those agencies that have already received something. I'm not in favor of giving them a second tranche.
It is
That's
quite
my-
interesting how that really, the first group was almost just the 500,000. It's like it was meant to be. That's how I kind of.
So that's just my opinion. Thank
Okay,
you.
Member Galassi?
I agree that this entire amount of 1.2 million is incredibly high, and that isn't something that we should fund. That said, my concern about this is I had a conversation with HCS Family Services, who does service the Hinsdale Lake Terrace area. And they were very clear that they were not aware that they could request. They said that they were actually told that they could not request a refrigerated van, and that it was gonna be like a shared situation. And they were very frustrated that they felt misled about the original application process. So they did get $29,000, but they said in conversations in a meeting that they had last fall that they participated in, it was told to them that they could not request a refrigerated van because it was going to be something that was shared. So I just am fearful that this rollout wasn't as clear as it should have been. And because it's in my district, I know we're all focusing, trying to do right by the agencies in our district, but I know it is a priority of the board to try to do the best we can to help uplift the Hinsdale Lake Terrace area, and that's what this van would do. And so I'm just, I guess, concerned or disappointed that they're in this situation.
I think we've had some discussion on that. Chair Swarzy, do you want to take that?
Well, and I am very sympathetic and appreciative of your comments, Member Galassi. And when I say we need to revisit this yellow group, we will revisit this yellow group at some point after we hear what the ARPA conciliatory numbers show. So I don't want to say that this yellow group is 100% out, but I think if we're patient, we may be able to get to the bottom of some numbers and see what we can do at that point.
And I have to say, I'm a big supporter of HCS also, they do some great things. And in deference to our staff, it was pretty clear that refrigerator vans, and I know there was some miscommunication there, but they were included in our first round. And so I'm really sorry they didn't understand that. But I agree with Member Schwarzy. I mean, we want to get the van there, and I think that's going to be one of our top priorities, come July when we get the money figured out from the ARPA. So we make sure they do get the help that they need out there. It's just a matter of just waiting a couple more months. I think that's what it's going to be. Because I do think that that's a very important thing to get done. Anybody else have any discussion? Oh, Member Zane. You can join the table,
That's all right. I know I don't sit on the committee, and I know you guys have done a great job on this. My concern, I think your concern is food. And we got a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah.
I mean, my only question would be on this blue group, could you get that money to them, but prioritize? I mean, I like the guys in York Township, but they have 5 different things on there. I mean, that's kind of, we're talking about things, maybe if you're looking to get to that 500,000, maybe we prioritize. People have multiple things here. Maybe we can get a priority out of there. Again, my main concern is food, getting to the people. And, we're a little bit over the amount that we had put forward, but if you said rounding down or whatever, because people went a little bit higher, but if we could look at that and go to them and go, you know what, you put in for 5 things, we're gonna give you 3, or we're gonna give you X amount.
We
we're
do
gonna
have
cut
the
it there.
food program through the Northern Illinois Food Bank.
Right, no,
We're aware
I'm
of
just saying
that.
on this
Okay.
stuff, but maybe just,
Because this was just a capital and infrastructure.
yeah, the capital stuff, I'm thinking maybe just, do the blue people, but then kind of prioritize. And maybe that will cut the number down to that 500,000.
That's something we can discuss. Oh, Chair Schwartz is going to answer.
Yeah, good comments, Member Zay. Thank you very much for that. And going back to, I can't remember who said it. I think Member Dessart said it, that 557,000 is 57,000 over what we approved. And so I think once finance gets our number, once they go through these applications, and if they come up with an exact number, then I think potentially prioritizing those and getting that number down to $500,000 is probably good advice.
Okay, great. And again, thank you. You guys done a great job. We all trying to, but I think that need for food is going to continue. I'd rather
I
use that 50,000.
Could not agree with you anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
If you need. Any other questions on this discussion? Okay. All right.
Can I just ask for a next step? I think the question is, once we get these numbers finalized, do you want it to come back to Human Services? Do you want it to go straight to Finance for a vote? Or do you want it to go to Finance for discussion?
I think,
Go ahead.
I'll speak. I think, once these numbers come in, as completed, I think you're gonna need to bring it back to this committee, especially if there has to be some sort of prioritization, we're gonna have to make some decisions to bring to the board on that. So can we bring it back to our next committee?
That's, yeah.
Okay, do we have a consensus on that? Everybody raise your hand if you're in consensus with that.
I would vote no, because I think it can just go to finance, get it down with the $500,000 and be done with it, go to finance and get it done. And I only say that, Greg, Chairman, because we want to get these things out to the people as fast as possible. And that's, if it comes back to committee, that's another 2 weeks that they're not getting it. So, once we get it down to the $500,000 that we already approved, let's just get it passed and get this money out to people. That's.
And I understand your point and stuff like that, but I tend to agree with Chair Shorzy that I would like to see the numbers come back to here to the committee, just so we can kind of see where it all lands up, because I want to, so I don't know if anybody else agrees with that. Do you have questions?
I have
or you're
questions.
just- Okay.
Yeah, or a comment, I guess. I think it's prudent to come back to the committee because they did say that there was some rounding up. So
Right.
I'm very curious, before we start prioritizing, I'm curious to see, once we get the exact number, I'm hopeful we're a lot closer to the 500,000, so the prioritizing is a much easier task.
I agree.
If we're not, if everybody's rounding up a bit, hopefully it's,
I agree. Member LaPlante?
Thank you. I agree with the chairman because, second round, we know what happened in the first round. We know where the weaknesses were from the first round. We decided after the first round, more communication was needed, right? To help everyone do their job better. So I think that let's stick to our original plan from the first round.
I think we've got the consensus, Mary, that I think most of us want everybody except for member Sart wants it to come back here, so we'll have it come back here. And do you think 2 weeks it can come back
I'm
here?
gonna.
Defer to Mary
defer to
Catherine.
finance. Yeah, also just FYI, I will not be at the next 2 human service. I have a memorial service on the 4th, and then I'll be on vacation 2 weeks after that, so it's gonna be completely on finance.
You good? Mary Catherine says that should work. Chair
Okay,
Shorzy.
thank you very much. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Is there any old business today?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Chair Shorzy, go.
Sorry, I have old business and I have new business. I'll try to be as quick as possible, but it's something we need to discuss. So under old business, a couple weeks ago, or maybe 2 meetings ago, we discussed the township pantry opt-out potentials, and we were at a unanimous consensus to not allow the opt-out. We let the townships know whether or not they wanted that do they want to get back into the program, the Northern Illinois Food Bank program. York and Bloomingdale both got back into the program. Addison decided they did not want back in. They said they were happy with their vendor. I subsequently got a letter from Supervisor Rebeletti asking if they could continue getting the funds of the opt-out funds. So my assumption was that maybe he said, no, we don't want back in, thinking he was still going to get the money, not realizing that it wasn't an either or. So I want to revisit that real briefly with this committee, because I want us to all be, I want to see if we're all on the same page with this. So, and then another couple of reasons I wanted to bring this back up, because I know member Childress wasn't in attendance when we discussed this, and that's his district. I think I talked with Mary Keating about how much money it would be if we did allow this single entity to opt out with the funds instead of the food. It'd be somewhere around $12,500. So now I have not asked Supervisor Rebeletti, if we say no to the money, are you going to absolutely turn down the food, or would you take the food? My concern is forcing him to take food would lead to some of the same things that happened last year when we were getting weekly complaints about the quality of the food. And so this will probably end up going to our board, and I just want to make sure, I want to get the feedback from the members here. How would you like to sort of proceed with this? We can either choose to let them opt out, the single entity with around 12,500. Mary can give us an exact number, and that number is based on population served. we can say, no, we're not going to allow this time. You're welcome to get the food. Or if he doesn't want the food, he doesn't have to take it. So I think we need to, and I'm sorry, I know we talked about it, but I think we just need to confirm one more time.
Okay, I know Member Galassi has a question or I would stay at the discussion.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation, Chairman. I still feel strongly that, my recommendation would be to go back to that, Reveletti and say, you know, in case you misunderstood, we are not going to be offering, cash for the opt-out option any longer, and the food is your only option. I don't want to leave, you know, an area, unfed, if you will. But I do feel strongly that we can't, you know, tell these other agencies that we aren't going to be giving the cash any longer, and then they opt back in, and then change our tune for one agency. I think we need to be consistent, and our message was very specific and very thoughtful, and that is, you know, there's a reason why we have our relationships, and I think it's the best, the most prudent use of our funding, and so I think we need to go back to, I mean, I guess let me ask this, can he still opt back in?
Yes,
Sure.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, then I think that is the option that we give him, and, you know, it's unfortunate that he seems to be on an island about the frustration he's having with the food, but I don't think it's wise for us as a board to make a decision, give that option to these different agencies, and then change our tune for one outlier.
Okay. Any other comments?
Greg and I had this conversation, I think, pretty much verbatim is what my feelings were too, so I'm 100% behind you.
Okay, and I also agree that we've given him, we're very clear on what we actually gave as a choice. And I am a big proponent of Northern Illinois Food Bank. I think the quality of the food they have there is fantastic. So I've seen it come into the Lisle Township Food Pantry. It is fantastic quality. So I think that we need to stick with what we actually were in a consensus for before. So, anybody else? Okay, so we're all in consensus. I think that we're gonna keep it the way it was.
I will draft a letter to him and let him know, and probably give him a call actually and let him know. And now with that being said, there's you know, there's certainly a potential that he may appeal to the county board in one of our county board meetings. So just but I want to be sure to let everyone on the county board know that we are at a consensus and this is how we feel. So we're good there.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
New business, I'll be real brief. So in our first round of infrastructure grants, Downers Grove Fish put in an application for a delivery van of some sort for $50,000. It sort of slipped by everybody, the fact that they put that, they actually purchased that truck in June, and we didn't even start this program until August. So they actually turned in a receipt of a vehicle that they already purchased. So we approved it and we didn't catch it until last month. And so I know, I think, Member Garcia, were you part of that conversation I had with Mary? Okay. You know, our thoughts is we're not going to say no. We already approved it. But to make things above board, or maybe that's not the right word, but to do things correctly, we're pulling that out of the infrastructure grant, and we're going to create a resolution for this at our next board meeting. So you'll see that on our agenda next Tuesday, and it's the same money, but we're just doing it in a different way. You know, certainly if we would have caught it ahead of time, we probably said, you know, this program didn't exist back in June when you bought this van. But because we approved it, we're not gonna you know, change our minds on that. So, and I don't know if staff if staff has any more comments on this that can explain it better.
No, they're good.
Okay.
Good summary, she said.
Okay. So just a heads up on that. And that's all I
Any
have.
questions on this? No. Seems like you explained it very clearly, Chair Schwarzy, so
Thank
it's all
you.
good. Any other new business? Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.